How's it going, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hopefully your day is going well and you're enjoying a little bit of this beautiful weather we have. While we have it, the rain has stopped for a little bit and we are rocking and rolling, especially here at Mallett Buildings. So, want to start off today, what makes a Mallett Elite building different? The premium features built into every Elite package. So we talk a lot about the classic because of our why Mallett, but today we want to talk about our best of the best, top tier, Mac Daddy, far and few between. Nothing can come close to the Elite building. So we're going to talk about that today. Let's hop into it. 4-inch and 6-inch thick 4,000 PSI concrete. As many of you know, on the Signature and Classic, it comes with a 4-inch concrete slab. When you go to the Elite building, it gets upgraded to a 6-inch concrete slab, which is 2 inches thicker and over twice as strong. But let's talk about a little bit of that. Included features of this concrete, we're going to use a 4,000 PSI concrete mix, obviously pounds per square inch, and it's going to have microfiber reinforcement. We talk about this a lot in Swiftness, but let's go into a little bit of detail here. So microfiber reinforcement, what is it and what does it do? Well, microfibers, as you know, are very, very small fibrous materials. And the way it reinforces the concrete and how does it get into the concrete, let's talk about that too. So when the concrete mix is being mixed together and you have the big swirly truck with the concrete, inside of that, you're also going to have the addition of the microfiber. So that microfiber is going to be mixed into the entirety of the concrete mix itself, not an afterthought, not something that's added once it's poured and stirred in. It is actually mixed into the actual preparation of the concrete. So when it is poured from the truck, you're not only just getting concrete, you're getting all of the microfiber reinforcements involved in that as well, which is super amazing because that microfiber is then evenly mixed and dispersed through the entirety of that concrete mixture. Now, because of that, microfiber is, as the name says, is going to reinforce that concrete. How does it do that? It does that by helping prevent cracks and the spreading of any cracks that may come. Because as much, you could have 10, 20,000 PSI concrete, it's not going to get rid of the fact that chances are over time it will crack. Now, there are many, many lucky people out there who never experience any cracks with their concrete, whether it be Mallett concrete or other concrete. And there's others, Mr. Trent even talked about this. He went above and beyond. I believe he did a 6,000, maybe even higher PSI concrete, did all the extra things. He added the control joints, he did thicker slab, did everything possible. And he even still had cracks on his private residence at his home. So that cracking is something that for the most part is cosmetic. And we don't want it because it doesn't look good. However, it's nothing to worry about in most cases. Now, that's not to give a blanket statement over all cracks because of course there are some that are issues, but 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be a cosmetic cracking. However, the microfiber also, if it does crack, it's going to prevent it from spreading because if you look inside those cracks very closely, sometimes you can even see those fibers holding themselves together against those cracks. So that's a really cool feature, very fun to see, and when you know about it, it's just a little bit extra confidence knowing that your concrete is reinforced. And we've mentioned control joints. What are the control joints? That is going to be those little slits in the concrete at a designated spacing, depending on your square footage, the area of the slab, whatever it may be. It's very specifically spaced and depth cracks. That, not cracks, but they're cuts. And they're going to be cut into the concrete on purpose, and that's going to alleviate pressure throughout the concrete. So if something were to hit the concrete, the whole thing won't crack. It'll be section by section, but also it alleviates stress on the concrete, allowing it to stay crack-free longer. And the control part of it is it's going to control the cracking. So if there's any cracking over time, it's going to happen at the designated points in the control joints. Now, thickened slab options are available. Of course, we have the 4-inch and 6-inch slabs. 6-inch comes standard on the Elite, but it is an upgradable feature on the Classic and the Signature. So keep that in mind. Now, why this all matters, as we just touched on, it helps reduce surface cracking. It's increased durability for heavy use. We always recommend if you're going to be using heavy equipment like a tractor in and out or storing big big trucks, big delivery, or what, it's a lot of use, think about a 6-inch slab because you're gonna want that extra security. Now, better long-term performance, absolutely, we just talked about that. And built for shops, equipment, and vehicle traffic, again, just talked about that too. So this is why that extra thickness on that slab matters and why the PSI matters, why the microfiber reinforcement matters. Now, a lot of contractors are gonna say they're just gonna use this mesh that they put into the concrete, and that's all fine and good if they do it the right way, but most people don't. They're gonna use this rusty wire mesh that they say is gonna keep your concrete secure, but it's not gonna do anything on the surface cracks because a lot of times it's gonna sink to the bottom because they're gonna either water down the concrete or just as it dries, that weight of the metal is gonna make it fall into the bottom of the concrete, and then it's not gonna do you any good at the top. Just things to consider, but questions you can consider asking other builders or even our own building specialists when that time comes. Moving along, we have Mallett Cable Lock System. We love this feature. So our uplift control system is designed to help resist wind uplift, hence the name. It's integrated into the building structure and added stability at critical connection points. I was just explaining this feature to a few of the newer guys who are working here with us, and they were, the looks on their faces, they were just like, that exists? And so it's super fun. Unless you work here or see our lives, you're probably not gonna know anything about a system like this because it just doesn't exist. A lot of people are gonna use rebar, they just drill into the side of the concrete and into the side of the post. And that's good, it's okay. It's kind of like the rival building. It's gonna get the job done, but not to the best effect possible, and you're leaving a lot on the table as far as value and security goes. But security integrated into the building structure, you guys, that's gonna be those aircraft cables that we always talk about. So the Mallett Cable Lock System, for those who don't know, is a series of 1/8-inch aircraft cables that is run from post to post. And it's gonna be connected at the base of each of these 6x6 posts with an eye bolt. And now that eye bolt's screwed deep into the post and the cables are woven in almost a serpentine pattern, and they're gonna go diagonal across every which way, connecting every single post together. And then on top of that, that concrete slab we just talked about, that is going to be poured on top of the cables. So when that slab hardens, all the weight of that slab is gonna be put on those cables. Why is that important? Because in a post-frame construction building, all of the weight of the building is on the post itself. You have what's called a floating slab, so none of the weight of the structure or the building itself will be on the concrete. The concrete's actually poured last. So that goes to show there's nothing that the concrete has in common except it's the floor of your building, but it's gonna be, in this case, holding that building down because it's hardening over and around these cables. Now, in the event of a hurricane, for example, which we've never lost a building to a hurricane, you can ask Darla Kays, you can ask a lot of our ambassadors who've been through these heavy storms, the building's gonna be there when you get back. That being said, this is because of the cable lock system. So when that concrete is hardened on those cables, all the weight of that slab, those tens of thousands of pounds of concrete, are going to be holding that building down. So again, in the event of a hurricane, if say a door gets blown in or a window breaks or whatever the case may be to allow wind getting in your building, it's going to want to try and find a way to get out. Wind is like water. It wants to fill and escape. So to escape, typically it's going to rush in, and because of the pressure, it's going to barrel up and out, creating almost like a parachute on out of your building. So you have this structure, 4 walls and a roof, lots of wind going in, nowhere to go out, so it's gonna go up and try and go out. That being said, as that happens, that pressure is gonna lift up on your building, pulling those posts completely out the ground. Unless you have the cable lock system. As I said, those tens of thousands of pounds of concrete, hundreds of thousands in some cases with the larger buildings, are going to be holding the building down by those cables. And it's a phenomenal thing because when you get back, your building's there. And this is going to prevent that the wind has to pull the post 3 feet out the ground with the weight of the concrete, which chances are, and we haven't seen it yet, It's not gonna happen. So keep that in mind. The cable lock system is absolutely amazing. And why all of this matters, aside from the obvious, Louisiana and Texas weather obviously demands stronger anchoring. We are in Hurricane Alley, you guys. We're on the Gulf. We understand what that's like. We require a little bit more than the standard. It's gonna help secure the structure during high winds and added confidence during storm season. One of my favorite reviews that we've gotten, a customer actually left a review and said, during the Hurricane Laura, they were in a brick home and they have a Mallett building as a shop behind. They said they didn't feel safe in their actual home because of all the noise and the movement of the building. So they actually went and stayed in their Mallett building during this hurricane. They chose their accessory building over their home because they felt safer in the Mallett building. And they rode that hurricane out in the Mallett building. And that blew me away. But what wasn't blown away was that building because the Mallett cable lock system. But just that goes to show the engineering behind everything here at Mallett. We talk about it all the time, but it's nice to see those real world examples and see what goes into the engineering as well. Moving right along. Ridge vents. So a ridge vent advantage is the following. They're gonna help release trapped heat. So this is gonna be a wonderful insulating feature as well. Aside from the insulation, which we'll talk about here soon, ridge vents are gonna allow for better airflow throughout your building. And in a lot of cases, a good example is, again, traditional homes, stick-built homes. Attics without ventilation are gonna be stuffy, full of moisture, full of heat, and it's just gonna corrode everything because it's just not meant to be in that kind of heat. And the humidity out here in the South is obviously crazy as well. But it's gonna help flow the air better. It's gonna encourage natural airflow, reduce moisture buildup, and helps the building stay cooler. It's like I wrote the slides, you guys. It's everything we just talked about, all those advantages. And why this matters besides the obvious, better comfort inside the building, which is key. If you're gonna be staying in this building or spending any amount of time there, comfort is key. It's gonna help reduce condensation issues, keeping your equipment, if you have any electronics or any metal or wood inside the building, you're gonna wanna prevent moisture because moisture kills most things. And this is gonna help prevent that. Great for workshops, storage, and enclosed buildings, guys. If you're gonna be if it's more than a storage building or even a storage, I'd say especially a storage building, ridge vents should be something you consider adding in every tier building. It comes on the Elite, but if you're gonna be going for a classic or signature, I would definitely suggest adding ridge vents as well. So, radiant barrier insulation. What it does. It's going to reflect radiant heat away from the building, help improve interior comfort, and it's installed beneath the roof metal and the wall metal. So a fully insulated and enclosed radiant barrier is going to be the following. If you've ever watched a building being built, or you've seen our photos online of the build process, or however you've come in contact with an in construction building, if they're going to be using radiant barriers, which we do here at Mallett Buildings, you're going to see something, it's hard to see here, but under the metal, there's going to be what looks to be like tinfoil. And it's gonna just be this big sheet of foil, essentially. It's the foil radiant, our foil radiant barrier, and that is going to reflect the heat. Think of it like a windshield shade inside of your car. You're gonna wanna put the tinfoil looking piece outside, and that's things that most people don't know. You're gonna want the reflective side facing out because those flat and dark colors like black or gray or whatever it may be, those flat colors are gonna absorb light and hold in heat. Those reflective colors like the foil are going to reflect heat and keep things cooler on the inside. So if you have a car shield, make sure you flip it to where the tinfoil looking side is facing outside, and I guarantee you're gonna have a cooler car. But that being said, this is gonna be wrapped around the entire building, on the roof, the walls, everything. So when that metal gets hit with the sun, it's gonna wanna heat up, but that radiant barrier is gonna reflect that heat back outward, and it's gonna cause it to cool off and not get inside the building, keeping your building cooler in those warm temperatures. Benefits of this, of course, helps reduce heat transfer, Makes buildings more usable year-round and excellent for Louisiana and Texas climate, where all in one day we can have -40 and 140 all in the same hour. So your roof takes the direct hit from the sun every day. Radiant barrier insulation helps fight the heat before it enters the building. It applies to the walls as well, but being up top, your roof's gonna get a lot of that heat. Like we talked about earlier, the attics are typically the hottest places in these buildings or homes. This helps prevent that from happening. So a 10-year workmanship warranty. This is going to be included with every Elite building, and it's going to be backed by over 27 years, actually, typo there, of experience in the business, you guys. We say this in the red flags all the time. How can you offer a warranty that's longer than your years in business? We don't know, because that's just crazy to us. But we've been around for over 27 years with over 20,000 buildings on the ground. We know what we're doing. We've been there, done that. We've got the experience, we have the credibility, we have the knowledge, the wisdom, the engineering, and we're still backed by a 10-year warranty that you can count on. So why that matters? Long-term confidence in your investment, because that's what this is. Your 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 building, however much you choose to spend, that's an investment. And when it's done the right way, it's a positive return on your investment, so you want to have long-term confidence in that. It shows commitments to quality craftsmanship, and you have peace of mind after construction is completed, knowing for the next 10 years, whatever happens, it can be fixed. Now, build with confidence. The Elite features are designed for strength, longevity, comfort, and performance. If you're comparing buildings, make sure you compare what's actually included. That's why the last few weeks we've been talking about the Mallett features. If you've missed the last few episodes, please go back and check those out. We have one more coming next week as well. And we just want to make sure we highlight everything that's part of a Mallett building because it's so important. But that being said, that is the features that make an Elite building different. Moving right along, where's Mallett for the week? Another fun segment because we get to see the logistics department just showing off at this point because we had 132 jobs kicking off the week yesterday. I believe this is a new record. Mr. Tim confirmed it, and we're just incredibly happy to see all these little dots on the map. So we had 102 jobs in Louisiana, everything from delivery to red tags. We had 26 jobs happening in Texas. We have delivery in construction, forming, plumbing. That concrete's going down, gutters and control joints are going down, and we have some electrical and HVAC as well as red tags. Now, we just talked a lot about why Mallett, but we're gonna hop into this and do a quick overview here. Excuse me. So the Rival Series, what is the Rival Series? This is gonna be our code compliant building. I call it our budget build because you're gonna be taking a lot of the Mallett building features out of the Rival building, and that is to achieve these low price points. We have Rivals, a 30 by 30 is starting at $16,999 right now. That's insane. And you get that because we're gonna take a few things away, but we're gonna give you an affordable building. Now, the Rival Series is a code compliant basic building, and we'll explain what that means in a moment when we get back to the Mallett building. But you're gonna have 29 gauge metal, a 4-on-12 roof pitch, 2x6 common flat trusses, 130 mile-an-hour wind rating on the building. It's not gonna have that Mallett cable lock system. It's not gonna have post pads. You're gonna put the post right in the ground. It's gonna have 2x8 headers, 3,000 PSI concrete, not 4,000. You're not gonna have any skirt board guards for ground protection. You're gonna have a limited 2-year warranty, not the 10-year. And number 2, untreated generic lumber. Now again, all of that comes together to give you an affordable building. It's gonna be a budget build, but it's gonna get the job done. It's a good building, don't get me wrong. Now, if you were to ask me what I would recommend, of course I'm going the Elite, and it's not just because it's our top tier, but it's because of everything included. But if that's not for you, if you prefer something else, we have our starting package here at the Mallett Classic. It's what started all of this, you guys. It's the original building, just updated to meet modern standards of what we're doing here at Mallett. And that looks like 26 gauge metal, a 5-on-12 roof pitch, so it's gonna be steeper and more aesthetic, allow for better runoff of debris and water. You're gonna get 2x6 cathedral trusses. So everything we do here at Mallett is centered around cathedral trusses. That is our staple, our signature. We make them here in-house. If you ever wanna see the process, come check it out. It's awesome. Now, all of those trusses and the truss plant itself is going to be inspected by a third party periodically, quite often, all the time, always have inspectors. That is because we want to make sure we're not only meeting the standard legal code, but this code we say we meet here at Mallett, and we do well on those all the time, I have to say. 140 wind mile an hour rating on the building, so we're already 10 mile an hour more than the rival, getting that beefy build going here. We're going to have the Mallett cable lock system. We talked in depth about that, and it's amazing, you guys. Concrete under every post. That's going to be a post pad, or a footer as a lot of people call it, and that's going to be an 80-pound bag of concrete that goes in every single post hole. So we're going to be using 6x6 posts that are about 3 to 4 foot deep, and at the base of that we're going to have an 80-pound bag of concrete that's going to settle there and create a firm, solid foundation for those posts to sit on. Now, if it's just in the dirt or gravel, over time it's going to sink, shift, and sway and cause your building to possibly be wonky and cause issues in the actual structural integrity. When you have a post pad, that doesn't happen because you have a solid foundation of concrete. Now we're going to be using 2x12 headers, way larger than the 2x8 headers. That's going to be a solid, rigid, and stout piece of wood and lumber for your trusses to sit on, to be the base of everything, to cover those entryways. The 2x12 headers are unbeatable, you guys. They're recognizable right when you walk into the building. You can already tell this is insane. We're going to have the 4-inch 4,000 PSI concrete on the Mallett cable lock system, also with the microfiber reinforcement. We're going to have skirt board guards for ground protection. That's going to be an additional wall girt that is wrapped in, I believe, Teflon or some sort of weatherproofing material. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody watching. But it's going to be at the base of the building. Almost, if this is the concrete end, it's going to go right on the outside, protect it from the exterior elements. You're also going to get a 4-year workmanship warranty on the Classic, and #1 MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber is going to be standard for every piece of wood, from the posts, the girts, the purlins, the headers, the trusses. Even things that aren't making contact with the ground are going to be ground treated because we believe in going the extra mile. And with that MCA ground treatment, you're also helping prevent termites, beetles, wood destroying insects, rot, decay, elemental issues, whatever it may be, that's going to be prevented as well. So we're going to give you that from everything in the ground all the way up to in the sky. So everything is going to be coated. We're also going to use #1 lumber for absolutely everything, you guys. It's going to be the best lumber you can buy, and it's going to be straighter, stronger, thicker, more durable, less prone to cracking, splintering, breaking. All of that is going to be your lumber. #1 for a reason. #1 company must use #1 lumber, and that's what we do. And of course, it's all going to be kiln dried lumber as well, which means all the excess moisture is going to be pulled out in a controlled environment to prevent, again, splintering, cracking, shrinking of the wood in the future. As that moisture comes out with the heat, that wood's going to want to shrink. And when it shrinks, you're going to risk splintering, cracking, and even the screws and fasteners being pulled out of that wood as well. And that's something you don't want. So kiln drying is going to help prevent all those issues and give you a solid piece of wood from the start. We're also going to have in-house engineering oversight. As I said, Mr. Darrell is here every Monday. You meet him on the live, but he is going to be overseeing every project, making sure the building isn't just designed well, it's going to be built and engineered to work as well and be the best building it possibly can. And that is why Mallett. And if you are interested in purchasing a Mallett building and you fall into one of these workforce categories, healthcare worker, first responder, military personnel, teacher, and educator, you can get $500 off every single day on your Mallett building just for doing what you do, because this is our small way of saying thank you, and it's a token of our appreciation. So whenever you're ready to get into your new Mallett building, we give you $500 off. Also, if you comment cash, you can get $1,000 off if you're going to upgrade to a signature or elite building, or maybe it's your first building and you want the best of the best. You can comment cash whether you think you're going to go with Mallett buildings or not, or whether you think you're even going to buy a building or not. I recommend, if you're watching right now, stop what you're doing, hear me out. Comment cash. Just type CASH and hit enter, because you're going to want to make sure you take advantage of this, because in the future, if you ever do want a building, you don't want to miss out on that $1,000. So I'll wait. I'll give you a second. It's 4 letters. I feel like Vanna White right here, just waiting on you to type the numbers in. Hit enter. All right. Thank you for your time. that's $1,000. You just made $1,000 if you come buy a building right there. Now, Tiger Cash is not applied to specials or promotions, but however, we have some phenomenal pricing going on right now, so that's going to make up for it there. And if you want something a little more custom, a little more special, a little more built to you, Tiger Cash is here as well. And if you fall into one of our workplace categories, you also will receive that $500 on top, so that's $1,500 right there just for being the people you are and doing what you do in everyday life. Now, speaking of specials and promotions, we want to talk about the Cajun Oasis that is here to stay. We did a nice little revamp because it's staying, so may as well make it look pretty. So the Cajun Oasis Classic, give me 1,500 square foot. It's a 30 by 50 by 12 for only $49,999. Now that price includes insulation. You're gonna have the full insulation we talked about earlier, a climate control package that's gonna be heated and cooled. You get fully wired and ready to go electrical package. You're also gonna get the 5-ton wall mounted unit as you can see here, and you're also gonna get the 4-inch 4,000 PSI concrete slab included with your building. So if you're looking to build a workshop, a man cave, home gym, storage, endless possibilities, you guys. You can do anything and everything. This could be converted into a barn-dominium if you want. It's 1,500 square foot. So whatever you may need, this is the way to go, you guys. And on top of all that, between the electrical package and the 5-ton unit, that's a $16,000 value you just get for free. Add it in, you pretty much have a $16,000 credit towards it at the end of it because it's just gonna, you're saving that money you would just be using to add it separately if it wasn't part of the package. And on top of all of that, you can even ask about spray foam if you want a little bit extra insulation. If you just get hot or sleep warm, maybe like I do, you want some insulation at night, you wanna make sure you have all that you can, spray foam is an option for you as well. I promise between this package here, it's a little bit overkill, but hey, it's an option as well. Now, speaking of overkill and engineering, let's talk about the Cajun Oasis Elite Package. Also 1,500 square foot, same dimensions, for $59,999. Now, as you can see, you're gonna get a lot more features here. It's gonna be engineered, as every building is, for your area to meet your wind, snow, load requirements, whatever it may be. You're gonna have full insulation on the roof and walls as well. Climate control, electrical package. You're gonna get two 36-inch walk-through doors. You're gonna get your windows. You're gonna get your roll-up doors, your 5-ton HVAC window or HVAC unit, all included. And this one's gonna come with 6-inch 4,000 PSI microfiber reinforced concrete. So again, you have insulation, cooling, electrical, durable, built to last. It's customizable. You get walk-through doors, roll-up doors. You get windows. If you, again, workshop, man cave, home gym, storage, whatever you can come up with, this package is here. And on top of that, you guys, you get all of the elite benefits. That's gonna be the ridge vents we talked about. You're gonna get the gutters. You're gonna get the wainscoting optional. I recommend going with the wainscoting because it's aesthetically pleasing and it also is an extra layer of metal on the base of your building. So anytime you're weed eating, you're not hitting directly on the building. It's that extra layer of wainscoting, just something to consider there. You're also gonna get, again, the 6-inch concrete. You're gonna get all of the elite features. And trust me, that is worth well more than the $10,000 difference in the Classic. So whenever you're ready, give us a call, 337-214-0428. We have our building specialists ready to take your call and they'd be happy to help you along the way. Now, when you want to purchase a building, whether it be from us or someone else, we recommend us, of course, but hear me out. You're gonna wanna run them through the red flags. And it's actually kind of funny, I talk about these every day, but I put them into use last night because currently I have an issue at home. My issue at home is I went to turn my TV on to watch a movie with my wife the other day, and we got a bunch of lines on the TV, which I've had enough TVs, I've been around long enough. I know what that means. It means my TV's about to go out. It's only 6 years old, so that's a little annoying, but I started looking at TVs yesterday. I was checking Walmart, Amazon, Best Buy, all the places. And what I found myself doing, I know what brands I like, but I found myself going to the reviews. I found myself looking at customer experiences. I found myself doing online research, seeing what people had to say, seeing what manufacturers had to say about it, seeing how they were rated, seeing everything about it. And I found myself I felt like I was running through the 5 red flags with these companies. And that's something I want to share with you so you too can have that experience, whether it be with a building, a TV, a couch, a car, whatever it may be, these flags apply. So first and foremost, you want to check out their years in business. See how long the company you're considered doing business with has been a business. Now, first and foremost, if they're not a business or they don't show up on the Secretary of State website, well, they're not the ones you should be buying a building from because they're not legally able to take care of that, or they're not going to have the proper business insurance and regulations behind them to guarantee you a safe and efficient process. But check that out, the Secretary of State website. Now, licensure is also very important, and by that we mean contractor's license. There's all sorts of different kinds, from residential, commercial, and many others, but this is something you can check out, the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors, or the LSLBC for short. If they don't have the proper contractor's license, they cannot and should not be on your property trying to do any kind of work whatsoever because they're not legally allowed to. It could get you in trouble, it could get them in trouble, and it could cost everyone a whole lot of time, money, and headaches. So check out the LSLBC for licensure and make sure they're properly licensed. If they are, while you're at the LSLBC, check out for contractor violations. Unfortunately, guys, this is something that is far too common, and we want to make sure people are aware that it is a thing. So just like a bad review, just like a penalty, just like an arrest report, contractors have violation reports, and a lot of them have arrest reports, unfortunately, too. But that being said, you can find that at the LSLBC. Know who you're doing business with. Know where they've broken the law in the past. Know where they've messed up in the past. If they're willing to talk about it, if they're open and honest, maybe they recognize that mistake and maybe it was a mistake and they've moved on. And if they haven't done it again, maybe you can trust them. Maybe. But if they ignore the fact, if they don't bring it up, if they don't hit that head on, then maybe they're not trustworthy because they're hiding stuff already. Before you even get the process started, they're hiding that, hey, we broke the law or we made a mistake. Own up to the mistake. If it wasn't a mistake, then that's an answer right there to your question. But again, check out contractor violations, you guys. We're proud to say here at Mallett Buildings, in our 27 years, we've had 0 contractor violations ever. And we're incredibly proud of that. So be sure to check out their history there. And speaking of history, check out the reviews and on the BBB and Google specifically. And we say that because it's such an easy way to access reviews. On the Better Business Bureau, we have an A+ rating. These are confirmed reviews for the most part. Anything that's not, they have a good process of taking those down. But all of these, we have over 700 verified reviews. By verified, I mean people who have actually gone through the Mallett building process. Now, you want to check on these reviews because this is what I like to call social proof. The last 3 red flags have all been legal and document proof, which is incredibly important. But if they've passed all those flags and hurdles, then this brings you to the social proof. This is what I was doing last night when looking for a TV. I was reading a review. I had one in my cart, ready to go, ready to check out. I was willing to spend the money because I like my TV, but I was reading the reviews and it turned me off from a brand that I love. A TV I was ready to buy because mama has one, grandma has one, whatever it may be. I ended up finding a different TV. So that being said, I haven't bought the TV yet, but maybe one day soon. But I read the reviews and it led me to make an educated decision because based on customer photos, customer experiences, stories, reviews, I understood what I was purchasing. And that's the whole point of reviews, is to get a customer's perspective. It's why we started the ambassador program. It's to help other customers get other customers' points of view. So this is very important. Please check out the reviews online. And finally, visit the contractor's facility. Guys, this one's important as well because first off, not everyone can offer you a facility tour. And that could be for a number of reasons, but one of which is they may not plan on being here for that long. They don't want to put the investment of having a business, having a building, a location. A lot of people are doing business out of their truck, which everyone has to start somewhere. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're banking on that 10-year warranty, you want to make sure they've at least been around for 10 years. How can you offer a warranty you haven't been around long enough to see the warranty through? But that's my soapbox for that. But the facility itself is such an amazing process. because we have an amazing facility. I don't know about everybody else, and if I do, they're just a little showroom and they're not doing the scale of things we're doing here at Mallett, but that's because we go above and beyond, and we've been here for 27 years. But in that, you can see we have the truss plant where we manufacture every truss specifically engineered and designed for your building. Every truss is built to order. It's made sure that it's fitting your building specifically how it should. We have the roll form plant coming along. Hopefully by the end of this year that'll be done, but that's going to give us an opportunity to roll our own metal as well, so we can have that under control and in-house too. We make our own gutters. We have our own packing facility where we pack each and every building onto the trucks and send them out. We're doing everything in-house pretty much, except for making our own screws at this point. But we want you to come see that, as well as shake some hands, meet the building specialist, meet your scheduling team who you're going to be spending a lot of time talking to. If they're here and not on site, you can meet the builders who are going to be building your building. It's just a lot of things you can do here at the facility. It also is easier to hash out those small and big details when you're here in person. But something to keep in mind, these are the red flags. Hopefully you can use them in your everyday life, and especially when you're looking to get into a building. Now, we hinted on our Ambassador Club. Again, this is a group of people who have purchased a Mallett building and they've agreed to be what we call an ambassador. And by that, it means they're ready to share their true, honest experience on how their Mallett building process went. And if you have any questions from a customer's perspective, they're here to help. So if you have any questions about that, please comment ambassador if you want to join, or if you want to be connected with an ambassador, comment connect and we'll find one in your area. So that's going to be our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tyler. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow the page wherever you're watching. Be sure to stay connected for more information here from Mallett Buildings. We have a lot of cool things coming. Can't wait to show you, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Please be sure to share the video with a friend you think might be interested, and if they come in to buy a Mallett building, have them say you recommended them, because you can get a referral check. Any questions about that, comment referral as well. But we hope to see you tomorrow. Again, I'm Tyler. Thanks for watching.